So this is what happened. My wife and I, we upgraded our phones. We had that thing on our lease where you can trade in the old phones and get the brand new phones. So we decided to get the iPhone XS Max. Really exciting stuff because for me as a content creator, I heard that there was a lot of different video capabilities on this, so I had to test it out. So as you saw on yesterday's video, JC and I, we took the phone out and we tested it out, whether it was good in daylight, whether it was good in low light, how the sounds, and testing out all the new features. So here's a little bit about my experience on the new iPhone XS Max. This might take a while, so a little coffee never hurt nobody. All right, so I'll be honest, when I first heard about the phone, I was kind of skeptical. I had a lot of reasons of why I didn't want to upgrade or why I didn't want the phone, but that's not what this video is about. Today we're talking about the pros and the cons of the video features on the phone itself. Not photography, not the phone itself as a smartphone, but the video features as a content creator. Because maybe you're like me, maybe you don't want to be out in public with a big camera looking all crazy, and you'd rather just have your phone, or maybe you're on a budget, or maybe just convenience-wise, it's just easier to have just your phone. And I think it's kind of exciting and also really extraordinary to only have such a small device and be able to pack a punch with its quality. So let's go down the list. All right, so filming outdoors, as usual, as you've seen on the other iPhones, I thought it was actually really good. Usually outdoors, the only thing is that it can get overexposed, like with a lot of sunlight, especially when you're in dark places. However, this balanced out really nice. There's a shot where we're underneath an umbrella and there's the background that's really bright. However, it isn't overexposed and blown out. It looks fairly nice, a good contrast. And then in low light, in the past iPhones, it's never been really good at filming in low light or in dark places, especially indoors, but this one, definitely an upgrade, definitely an improvement. I actually didn't cringe when I was filming inside. I kind of enjoyed it a lot more than normal. However, I haven't filmed at night, so I can't tell you what that looks like. We'll have to do that another day, another time, maybe even a whole other video. All right, one improvement that I really like is the selfie mode camera. So usually the backside of the camera, the regular camera, is just way better than the selfie mode camera. But this one, it's not so drastic. Of course, the regular camera is better than the selfie mode camera. However, it's not as bad as the past phone. So when you're facing it, especially if you're a type of person that likes to vlog and you have to see yourself and you look at the background and know the shot before you record and you're talking to it, it's not as cringing when you look at it this way. So the selfie mode camera has definitely improved. I really like that about the new update. One thing that I was really excited about is the frame rates that this phone is capable of. At 4K, it can film at 24 frames per second, 30, as well as 60 frames per second. And then at 1080, it can film at 120 frames per second and also 240 frames per second. For those that have no idea what I'm talking about slow-mo. For me, I really like filming in slow motion. I like giving that romanticized reality when you are filming or portraying your story in your video. So I really like it. So having those capabilities and the different options is definitely a plus for me. Now, I'm not sure if the older iPhones have this, but I was really impressed with the autofocus and also the stabilization. For DSLRs, the autofocus is really nice to have, but knowing that you have it in your phone is definitely a plus, because then you can move around, I can move in, I can move out, and you stay in focus. But I have to say the optical image stabilization was really impressive. Like when I dropped it in the editor, I was looking at the footage and I was impressed about how non-shaky it was, how smooth the shots were. It made me feel like my handheld was really good, so definitely a plus and a positive for me. As far as sound, I didn't plug any external things on it like another microphone or anything of that nature, so I can't really tell you or give you my opinion on how the sound was. However, at least talking to just the phone, it does sound good. If you're outside, of course, you're gonna get outside sound or ambient noise. Indoors, you're still gonna get the air conditioning, so you wanna make sure that you're in a controlled environment. That kind of goes for any camera. DSLR cameras as well as smartphones. Always be in an environment where you can hear better quality sound. It's always better to have a better mic. As far as the phone itself, I guess the sound is pretty good. Now, for me, there was two big negatives that I did not like about the phone. They may not be negatives to you, but they are definitely negatives to me. For me as a content creator, I like to be able to know how I can utilize my footage, but the iPhones have a new codec. It's the H.265 codec. Usually it films an H.264 codec, and that was actually troublesome for me when I dropped it in the editor. I'm not really sure where I went wrong, what was going on, but the footage itself had a lot of glitches. There was a lot of audio that wasn't synced correctly. So I don't know if that's an import issue, or if that's a camera issue, or if that's a codec issue. Either way, my computer dealing with the new codec, there was an issue. So I don't know if Apple is taking care of that, if they're updating that. I don't know if there's a hardware issue or a software issue. Either way, if it was a headache for me to edit, I know that's gonna be a headache for other people, especially those that maybe aren't involved in media as I am. So I definitely think something needs to happen where the codec situation or how software use it has to change, especially the import process. So for example, if you go on your phone and you go to settings and then you go to camera, you can see all the different formats in the codecs that you can record in. So for example, when you want to film at, let me go to here, if you want to film at 1080 at 240 frames per second, you have to record in a format that is HE, high efficiency. That's the H.265 format. So what that means basically is that it's gonna give you the same quality, however the file won't be as big, which is really good for your phone. However, when you drop it into your editor, there is something that maybe it doesn't work correctly, or there's a glitch, or maybe the software doesn't recognize it the same way. I had to go through like 3 different processes. I had to throw it into Media Encoder, and then I had to transfer it from an H.265 to an H.264, and that's only because I know that I need to do that, but I can just imagine how much of a headache that has to be for other people that are trying to edit their footage. You can still record on a regular format. You can still record on H.264. You just have to go into your settings and change that to the original settings, and I think it's called most compatible, and that most compatible will allow you to record in an H.264 MP4 format, which is a lot easier, and most editors and softwares can handle that and have already been editing in that for a very long time. So for me, it was a headache, and that's me coming from like trying to figure that out and troubleshoot and having the time to do it. I can just imagine what it would be like for someone that maybe doesn't have the same skill set, or maybe just not as experienced with media or digital media or filmmaking, because this is a phone, so I feel like it should be a lot easier to use, especially when you're trying to make a video. For all my homemade creatives, I hope that they fix that, because it will make it a lot easier to be able to edit and put out a nice video without having all the trouble of figuring out how to edit on that codec. And the biggest thing that really bothered me, if I'm honest, is, of course, the price. I mean, the thing is that the price of this phone, of course, unlike the other iPhones, is definitely up there. Way more expensive than the other phones itself. But however, you get a whole lot more in this phone, so it's kind of understandable for it to be increased in how much it is. However, if you're looking for a device for filmmaking, and DSLR is just as much money and will be able to give you the capabilities to film on an interchangeable lens and to get different depths of field. So I don't know if the price really balances out. It's really up to the individual, because I mean, for me, I got it because it was in my contract, but I don't know what it's like for everybody else. And also, it also raises the question, if a camera that's not a smartphone is that much money, is that worth the price? So now we're in this battle between a smartphone that can have the same capabilities as far as frame rates and all that stuff as a DSLR, and then a DSLR that can provide pretty much better quality, however, doesn't have smartphone capabilities. So now, which one is which? Or are we at that point where you're gonna need both? So I got a whole lot more I wanna do and test on the new iPhone XS Max. For me, I really like it. I think that it's a good addition to the equipment line that I have, especially in lifestyle journalism and vlogging, but also in homemade creative films. I really enjoy having it. It's lightweight. It's something that's not really too heavy that I can just carry around. I don't look crazy in public filming with it, and it puts out a really nice quality picture. And if you saw on the video, it's pretty good. It's not horrible. It's not bad. It's actually more than just good. It's actually really good. So I enjoy having it. As far as the price, I don't know. That's really up to you and your budget and what you're willing to put up. For us, it just worked because it was in our contract. I don't know if it wasn't in our contract, if we would do that, if we would make that jump. I don't know. Either way, I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that. So for me, that's my take on the new iPhone XS Max. Let me know what you think. You like it? Is it good for video? Bad for video? Is it worth it? Let me know what you think. Hey friends, Brendan Eldom here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, tap the like button and share it with someone. Take that link, toss it up, throw it to a friend, and if you want to see more on Shade Life, hit the notifications bell for a heads up on the newest episode, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe.
Bubble, bubble. Mama.